Well, I will tell you that I really appreciated your response to the piece. And I'm particularly curious, one thing you said, that your take on this notion of faith, as what I saw in your piece was that um, you you see faith being acted out in a sense by other people, and that inspires or contributes to your wanting to take that on yourself, honor them. Can you just, I don't know, spell that out a bit? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I don't think it's the only aspect to my faith, but I think a big part of my self-growth over the past few years has been this acknowledgement of kind of needing validation in my life. I think part of that is being the youngest. I think part of that is growing up in the digital age, wherever it's all about likes and
Hmm.
retweets and things like that. And and I think when I apply that actually to kind of, yes, to the way that I see Hashem, that there's this idea that you want to see what you're davening for, what you're davening to in everyday life. Um, you want some sort of response.
Hmm.
I don't think that the idea of wanting some sort of response is so new. I think actually that's centuries old. But we used to have direct relationship. Um, so I think in some way, it's actually more motivating to
Hmm.
say, "Wow, I actually can see the divine within sparks of humanity." And what a beautiful way for me to keep up then that relationship of Ben Adam Makom, because I know that there's also this relationship of Ben Adam Chavero that I kind of feel like it's cyclical.
Beautiful. Yeah, that feels really powerful.
Yeah.
And then right, uh, that makes sense. Then that tzedakah, which was the example you gave, and I'm sure again not exclusively, but tzedakah is a strikes me similarly as taking part in that same cycle. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, even I would say even more so, sometimes I wrote about the positives. I believe I wrote, a great day that you see someone else working really hard for a cause, or you see someone succeeding or doing something wonderful. But there are days that you come down and wow, that was a hard day.
Hmm.
Um, and I also think doing that physical act of tzedakah and saying, okay, if I didn't have that yet, there's a way that I can still put that act into my life.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think that's also really powerful. And I think it goes the same if you give someone on the street, if you are tutoring, whatever your tzedakah project is based on your daily life. It doesn't have to be money in a pushka, as they say.
They do say that.
Yeah.
Um,
Someone once did.
yeah. Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, so one interestingly, or one of the other folks I spoke to, Gary, who's commenting, his response, I don't know if you saw it, but he very much picked up on the tefillin aspect and used it as a way to talk about embodied practice, um, for folks who do not put on tefillin. What do you see? What are other moments, generally or in your own life, that are embodied? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's right. What are the physicalities?
Yeah,
It seems like.
yeah.
I talk to my students on Try. We just mentioned that I work for Vermont, and it's hard for them. They go from nothing to davening 3 times a day, and they don't get it. And I talk to them about how you're not supposed to be able to connect to Hashem every single time. but we do it 3 times a day and we build this ritual so that you're 3 times more likely to get that one time that you connect. So I wonder if that's what it's like in tefillin. You know, I wonder if sometimes you're like, wow, I feel myself rapping today. But I don't really know.
I know I personally, that is the case for me for sure, which is I think part of what I was trying to communicate and what I wrote is that, yeah, it is the act of doing it dafka through thick and thin, through moments where it does not sort of like speak to me or I'm kind of not even aware that it's happening, to moments where it feels very powerful, very connected. For sure, it feels similar to davening and a lot of parts of religious life and other relationships I have in my life, interpersonal, whatever. For sure. And I think, yeah, those end up maybe being some of the more meaningful in the long run. But like, yeah, you got to stick them out. You got to have faith. That's the Emunah project. So yeah, that speaks to me.
Cool. So it's good that you got that pasuk to write about then. Seems like it worked very well.
It worked out well.
Yeah.
Interestingly, that pasuk speaks. Maybe one reason I'm thinking on that track is that the Sefer Hosea is one big metaphor for relationship, and a relationship that like waxes and wanes, that goes really bad, but then has potential for restoration. So I think
there's some pretty bad stuff in there.
Yeah, it's as a feminist, it's pretty hard to read.
Yeah. Same. I feel that.
Yeah, for sure. So good talking with you, Sara.